So look, tonight there was a couple of things I wanted to share with you. The first one was I kind of wanted to hear from you guys about what you've thought about the event and what the biggest takeout for you was, and things that you really loved and things that you didn't. Because I think it'd be good for me to take that back to Mastermind Central and just let them know some of, what was good and what wasn't. And then I wanted to share with you a bit more about. I've told you I'm going to do a bit of a live demo of the system. And the reason I want to do that is because I was having a really good conversation with Gary and Alex last night. And what I came away from that, and maybe if you saw in the email today, was there was a part of my journey that I'd forgotten about, which was when I first started, I had the two things that both Gary and Alex were articulating. The first one was, I don't really know what sort of idea I would, sell to anyone. And the other conversation that was happening was, well, oh, I'm not ready and I'll have to learn a lot more and stuff. And so I kind of I will talk to you a bit more about that when we get into that section. And then I did just want to show you the system because I think maybe some people got a perception of the system that it's only just about the system, but it's actually a lot more than that in terms of what it will help you with. And even if you don't go with the system, I think it will help you think about answering some of those questions for yourself. So before we get into any of that, so I'm going to just open the floor to kind of what was your biggest takeout from the event? Like if there was one thing that you thought, wow, that was just fantastic, what was it? So let's start with that. Glenys, what was yours?
Probably for me, it's like I just have come to a realization that I just need to find an idea that I'm really passionate about and really confident in. And it can't be too niche. It's got to be something other people are going to want as well. And I'm lacking that idea. And I'm pretty confident that once I've got that idea and I'm using that system and, my marketing expertise, because my issue was not so much with the how because of my marketing background and I've worked with technology and all of that in the past. So, I'm confident in executing it once I've got the idea, but I came to realize in the 3 days that the idea that I had, which originally was a vague idea, was not something I really felt that passionate about, and I don't feel it's going to stack up. So I need to go back to the drawing board on that.
And and I mean, if you want to talk to me about that offline, I'm really happy to have a chat with you about that as well, in terms of what your idea is and whether you think it's
the
one.
and my head is moving in this other direction as well because I had two ideas. One was a knowledge base idea, and the other one is also a knowledge idea, but it needs to start, I think, in the physical space. But the system obviously doesn't sort of deal so much with that. And it's way outside my area of expertise. I would need a partner and potentially an investor. So I've got all of that going on as well, whether I invest my time in trying to get that right or whether I find something that's just for me that I could execute using the mastermind system.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point. I mean, Gary and I had a really good conversation last night about he was facing a similar quandary around well, Gary, if you don't mind speaking to that, because you were facing a similar quandary around your idea about procurement, right? In terms of whether it was transferable into a knowledge product and actually whether it was the idea that you really wanted at the same time, right?
Yeah, there's a bit of checking the right thing with a passion, because while it's great and it's a good money earner and stuff like that, it's really all about what floats your boat.
Yeah.
And the photography thing does more for me.
Yeah, Gary and I challenged Gary a little bit in our call last night in terms of, I could see him lighting. I hope you didn't mind me doing that, Gary, but I could see you light up about photography, but then you seem to be taking your idea down the procurement route. And it does not necessarily to say that you can't create both, and anyway, but I definitely see you lighting up a lot about photography, and so I feel that's where your heart lay. And so I think that's the other thing I'm going to talk to you about, because your idea can come from so many different areas. Like if I can just share with you. So for example, when I was exploring my areas, do you remember when Dean showed you the three sort of the triangle that said it can come from your career, it can come from your life, or it can come from your hobby or your passion? And so I went through a whole load of ideas when I went through Mastermind, and some were even me considering, well, I might do something relating to helping people who lose people to cancer really early, because I lost my husband when I was 29. And, that wasn't even an idea I'd thought could be anything in this area, because I was thinking it needs to be something in my career and be very professional. And then I joined the Mastermind Academy, and I've got people who are selling things around energy and mindsets and lived experiences that I couldn't even consider. And so I thought about that. And then the other one was around, helping people who've had to change their life through injury, because I had a medical misadventure in 2016, and I am pretty much bionic from the waist down, and I've had to adapt my whole life due to multiple operations. And so there was things like that, and they opened my eyes to the fact that I could actually, if I was really passionate about that, I could do stuff like that too. I could write a book about it. I could be a mastermind person about it. And I think before I talked to them, I had this idea that it had to be a very professional, career focused thing, etc. And so I just want to pass that on to you, because I have met so many people in that academy, and I thought I was going to go into this academy where there would be, lots of very professional people, and they're all going to be talking about very professional topics that they're making knowledge products out of. And you won't believe the amazing people that sit in that academy that have got an amazing lived experience, that they are creating an amazing offer to people. And they've got people coming in droves, and I'm sitting there going, God, I would never have thought about that. And and Jim Quick, who was talking about his story about the fact that he got a brain injury, and now he's actually helping people to train their brain. Whilst that's got an element of career about it, it's actually very personal to him. And so there's just lots of different ideas. So I just want to encourage you, whatever happens, I just want you to encourage you to think about that there are a lot of different lived experiences that you have that could fall into any one of those 3 points on that triangle. And it doesn't have to be that formal career thing to create a knowledge product at all. So Gary and that's my long-winded way of saying I slightly challenged Gary last night, because in my conversations with him, I really felt that his heart lies in photography, but I know his concern was, well, how would I create a knowledge product out of that? And we had a completely different conversation after that. So I think that, so Glynis, I would really strongly encourage you to think about all aspects of, sorry, excuse me, guys, all aspects of your life, your career side, your lived experiences, and your passions and your hobbies when you're thinking about what that idea could be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Cass, what was your biggest takeout?
It's very hard to drill it down to one. I think that's an unfair question, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
9 hours of woohoo stuff.
Were you dancing?
No, well, no, I wasn't dancing, but also because I only managed to do the first one live and that extra one live, and the other ones I was doing the recording, so I was in various places in public and all sorts of stuff when I was through them all, so I could keep up, so I could have this meeting afterwards. But yeah, I think that to me the takeout was you don't have to know it all, and that you can just start somewhere and give it a go. And also I think one of the things, because I've tried to set up my own business before, as we talked about, is that it's really scary, because you're giving up your job and you're doing that. Whereas with this, when they talked about just a little bit every day, I thought you could transition while still working and earning money to actually doing a little bit every day, and then grow it. And then at some point there'd be a tipping point, I guess, hopefully, if it was successful, that you could actually just give up your day job and do something. So yeah, but I'm the same as Glenys. I just went, I've got an idea. I just we had to do that homework after the first day, and
Oh yeah.
I immediately, like you, Lindsay, I went straight to professional. I went to comms, went, this is what we'd do, da da da. And then the next day I looked at it and thought, I don't want to do this. It's really boring.
Exactly. And you don't, the only reason I'm so passionate about it is because I've got to be in my bonnet about it. And I always have in the 26 years I've been in the profession. And all my jobs were about repositioning marketing communications as a profession. And because I also succumbed to a lot of stereotyping, a lot of professional bullying, a lot of scars on my back, and I would like to accelerate other people's journey and reduce the pain levels. And that's something I'm really passionate about because it's really affected me mentally and physically. So and so I got a real hunger for it. You know, when Dean talked about the fact that you need to have a hunger.
That was one of the things I wrote down, and I wrote the hunger, passion, everything, and then went, oh, I don't know if I've got a hunger. Hunger for winning lotto and retiring.
Oh, don't we all have a hunger for that? Come on.
Yeah.
No, but that's really good. I mean, I know I'm asking you to drill it down to one point, but often that is the point subconsciously that's made the most impact on you. And I think I love the fact that you said you have to just start. And that was the one thing that we were talking about last night as well, is the biggest fear I had was everything. I wasn't ready. So when I thought about building Turas, I'm not ready. I can't do this. I'm not ready. I have to have everything perfect. And what I was sharing with Gary and Alex last night is the Turas that exist now versus the Turas that I launched are very similar, but they have grown exponentially because I started. And I honestly believe that the quality of my thinking, because I was in it and had started it, has grown exponentially because of that, versus if I just sat there and thought about it a bit longer. And that's because I went out and offered people things, and then I got feedback, and then I thought, well, that's not maybe quite right, so I'm going to tweak that a bit. And I think if I just sat in my own world and not done that, I don't think I would have the richness of knowledge that I have now that I'm putting into my business. And so I think my two biggest piece of advice were, one is your idea doesn't have to come from your career. Two is you don't have to be 100% ready. And to be honest, you will never be 100% ready or 100% certain. So if you are looking for that, you are looking for a unicorn, because I don't think any of us can honestly expect us to be that, because the world is changing too fast. And also you've got to be confident about what you have. And I had my moments, and when I launched Turas, when I thought, you know, I don't know if I could do this, and I'm not ready, and I'm launching a product. Oh my God. But I have found that it has really helped me hone my craft in terms of my business. And so don't wait till you're 100%. You'll never, it will be a path. You'll still be in the same place if you wait till you're 100% ready. Don't, please don't. I think I waited too long. My only regret is I launched Turas when I was 52, and I wish I'd launched Turas when I was 22. And so, you know, that would be my only thought there. Gary, what was your single takeout?
Stephen Bartlett's, basically, about readiness being uncertainty, only being 100% in hindsight.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool. And then his thing about fail fast. So you just got to get on and do it and fail and move on to the next thing. If you do fail.
Yeah.
So
I really loved it when he talked about that, actually. Yeah.
Oh, his just analytical mind is just booming. So that's been the catalyst for me to just get on with it.
And I think you're right there. And I think, are you thinking about the two things that I took out of his? One was the one where he said, there are two types of decision in life. Decision one is when you're 100% certain, and decision two is when you're not 100% certain. And all of your life, it's about decision two, but we always try to make it a decision one. And I thought that was such a clever way of doing it. I know that I try and make my decisions two, make decisions one, i.e. I'm 100% certain. but I'm going to break it to you all now that never happens. And that never happened even in my job within marketing comms, never mind my setting up a business. It's one and the same, to be honest. And so I find that really, that impact really powering as well, Gary. I must admit, I thought he was very, very, for a 31-year-old man, he was the depth of his knowledge and the concise way that he communicated some of his thinking, I thought was quite brilliant.
It's very scientific.
Yes, he had a science to his. Yeah, he had a science to what he said.
It's got wisdom way beyond his years.
Oh God, yes. It was. I couldn't believe that he was only 31.
I know. Yeah.
So in summary, the three things we talked about is, one is it was useful in terms of maybe putting your current ideas through a filter. 2, it was you got to start somewhere and just give it a go. And 3 was similar sort of thing, but don't rely on that 100% certainty and fail fast. And I can tell you, I failed as well in my Turas business in this last year. But yesterday, if I can just share with you, yesterday I won an award, and it was by the Global Brains magazine. It's the CREAS Award, and it's a global award for entrepreneurs and thought leaders who are considered to be game changers. And they've seen all my content, and they approached me from Sweden, and they awarded me this, and I'm like completely stoked, by the way, and completely. Thank you. I mean, I am, but I didn't get there by being ready, and I didn't get there by doing everything right. And I am very humbled to appear on that list. There are some very prominent people on that list, and so the fact that I'm on it, I'm very honored. But I think I didn't get there by having everything, all my ducks in a row, and not making a few blunders along the way, and just being myself and being honest about what I was. And so I think I'm sharing that with you not to go, oh wow, fantastic. I'm sharing that with you because genuinely I made some boo-boos along my way. So, and I wasn't ready. So then my next question I'm really interested in is, okay, what didn't work for you in the event? Like, what could have been improved in your opinion? I'll come back around to you, Glynis, if I may. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Or what didn't work?
It can't be changed probably, but the 5 a.m. starts.
Yep. Time zone.
A more friendly start time for us. Another thing that I found a little bit frustrating was that the meeting invites were from 5 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. but every day went to at least 8 a.m. and I had sort of worked particularly on the Friday where people are going to work and stuff, and there are other people in my household. I sort of worked things around that, so it was a little bit. It made it a bit. They didn't really have my full attention in those last sort of 45 minutes to an hour because there was other stuff going on around me. So it would just be good if they could stick to the time schedule a bit more.
Yeah, no, I did note that actually, and normally they are pretty good, but I did notice that every day they went to eat. And I was very conscious of that because I had told all of you it was only 2.5 hours, 3 hours max, I think I'd said at one point. But no, duly noted. Anything else?
And for me, there probably was that step missing, which maybe they could have done as a event before the event around, trying to find your passion or your idea or whatever, so that everyone that turned up to the event already had something in their head. But for me, it missed that step,
And that's really interesting because the system caters to creating that, but clearly you haven't picked that up.
I agree. I actually the first day thought I shouldn't be here. This is really an idea.
Like it had convinced me not to do it, and because I realized, I don't have the passion for that idea. So what am I doing here?
Yeah. And I think that's something that I've observed across all of you, actually. is that and that's why I wanted to show you guys the system tonight, because part of the system is about helping you find the idea. And I think that's got lost somewhere in translation, because I think quite a few people feel they need to have the idea now to then enter the system, but that's not true. The system actually helps you find the idea as well as design and deliver it. And I think that's got lost, because I think even last night, Gary, when you and Alex were talking, I also got the impression that both of you felt you needed to have the idea before you could enter the system. Is that true, Gary? Oh, where's it gone?
Oh, he's chasing the dog.
Yeah, no, still here. Just finding the unmute button. It was, yeah, I mean, I've got the idea, but it was just more how to draw it out and flesh it out a bit more to be more, have it more visualized.
Yeah, and
but
I think you're maybe further along.
Yeah, maybe it's just in a ready state for it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's just been really interesting listening to you all, because I had a sort of vague idea what my idea was, but I certainly didn't have a formed idea when I entered the academy. Absolutely not. And I went through a number of things to help me define that idea. And so I just want to kind of reframe that with you, because I kind of got the impression quite a few people felt they had to have this defined thing all ready and set to go, and whoop, we'll go into the system and off we go. But what you'll see when I show you the system, because I'm going to show you show you the back end of the system, is that you'll see that that's not true. That doesn't have to be the case. So the system is also designed to help you work out a number of things, which I'll show you. One is what your idea is that you would extract and share. Two is how you identify who the customer is, but also then it's also about, well, how do you helps you identify what you want to be? Like, do you want to be a masterminder? Do you want to be a course creator? Do you want to be a coach? And there's some videos that help you understand, because even sometimes I myself go, am I a coach? Am I a course creator? Am I a masterminder? And to be honest, my business now contains, or is going to contain, all three soon. And so they will all ultimately contain that, but it's about where you want to start and also what you want to be. And the Jump Start assessment also helps you work out what that might be too. And I'll show you, I did the Jump Start assessment twice today because I wanted to see what it would say. So I'm going to show you that as well. So I think just thinking that you had to have a great idea to go into the system is not entirely correct. It might help you find the idea.
Probably just to add to that too, is because you didn't have an idea, went into it, heard lots of fantastic case studies, which was amazing. They were great.
Yeah.
It made you feel even worse.
Oh no! Oh no!
God,
it's meant to inspire you.
All these creative people with great ideas, and I don't know.
No, well, that is really good to know though, because well, one, I can imagine that Dean would hate for anyone to feel that way anyway, because he's just not that kind of person. And secondly, it's really interesting the way that's been set up. So I think I'm going to give that feedback back, because I've certainly observed through conversations with a number of you that I think you all felt that you needed to have the idea set and defined before you could enter the mastermind business system, and that's not true. So Cass, it was the same for you in terms of it would have been better to have been clearer about the role of the system in terms of helping you find an idea, and the case studies depressed you. Does that sum it up?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, maybe they with all these amazing people. I'm not one of them. Yeah, just that one other feedback there was the spam and the lead up to it absolutely did my head in, because I live on emails for work, and that was just in the way, and there were so many, and they were coming from different people, and I couldn't find the ones that had the link and the ones that didn't, and you know, like I understand culturally that it's different, it's American.
Yeah, it is, but you're not the first one to say this to me, and I was a recipient of those too, and
yeah, they just like jammed up the system, everything, and then I think I told you I was spitting out that day. I was trying to find the link, and I couldn't find it, and then I sent it to my work laptop, and then my work laptop just went mental, because obviously it's a link, and the work you know, all
like
the security system just went berserk, and then I couldn't even get into my Outlook on my work one. I was just going, oh, what is this? This is a nightmare. Yeah. And in this time when, you know, my drama last night at work was another cyber security, you know, was
right,
you know,
just what you needed.
Just, you know, so it was just like, oh my God, this is not a real thing. In fact, I wouldn't have done it if I had met you as a real person in New Zealand. I would have just thought this is just some dodgy thing.
No, that's right. And I think that the feedback that I'm going to give Mastermind is that if I'm an affiliate and I'm inviting my guests, don't spam them, because I'm already communicating with them. And so my feedback back to them is going to be, if I'm going to be an affiliate, then I drive the communication to my guests. And they would know that you're my guest, because there was a particular link that went back to my particular identification, so they would know. So I'm going to give that feedback, because I actually had somebody else withdraw from this process because she just didn't like the level of spam, and she decided it wasn't for her, which is a real shame, because I actually think it possibly was, but same thing, she didn't like the spam. Thank you for that, Cass. Gary, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I a little bit agree with the spam thing, and it's just cultural differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never warmed very well to American culture per se, but I could see through it.
Yeah. Anything else that you want me to? Any other feedback you want me to take on board?
Oh, if you can shift the time zones.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah,
that's a physics thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've got that much influence, but I'll put it into my feedback.
Give it a go.
I'll give it a go.
It's the privilege we have for living at the bottom of the world.
It is, unfortunately, and
correct.
unfortunately, most of the audience lives nearer to that time zone, and so it's a bit hard for us to ask for that. But I recognize that I was asking a lot of you guys to get up at 5 a.m. Anything else, Gary?
I think that was it, really. Just the cultural differences.
And then my last question before I show you some of the system is, what was the value you felt you got or didn't get from me running alongside you?
Well, I can reaffirm, if you weren't there, I wouldn't have done it. You know, I mean, you introduced us to it, but even if I'd found it, if I'd looked at, you know, courses, you just are so suspicious of everything now. And because of the spamming and because of the hype and the different kind of cultural approach to it, I would have just gone, this is just dodgy, you know? So, and so
I made it less dodgy.
Yeah, well, because you're a real, well, I haven't met you in person, but you're a real person.
I think it made it real, like, for me, it made it real for me, like, just the style in which it was done was so American that it could have been, it could have been a scam, right? And it reinforced to me that it was real, and it kept me motivated as well.
Okay.
And the summaries were really good as well, Lindsay, particularly because I couldn't do the whole lot. It was really helpful. And the little chat, because I was watching the chat on WhatsApp and thinking, oh, I must make sure that I check that guy, because I was doing little bite-sized chunks of the whole thing during the weekend trying to catch up. Yeah.
I know, that's good, because I didn't have to do that. That was so the WhatsApp group and the summaries and these sessions are all my doing. I didn't have to do any of this. I could just have made you aware of it and sent you off to the event. But because I've been through it and because I'm in it, I felt it was much more important to put a face to what it can do. And also because of that American style, I know some people will be like, but because I'm Scottish, I live in New Zealand, but I've been in the academy for over a year. I can vouch that whilst that American style is there, it doesn't get in the way of the intelligence that sits in the academy. Do you know what I mean? Like the really good wisdom and support that sits in that community, despite some of the Americanism that sits there, and it doesn't dominate as much as maybe in the events are very quite Americanized. But when you get into the academy, less so. Like some of the trainings and the coaching sessions that I sit in and on and participate in, it's not like, woo, you know, we don't have cheerleaders rolling on out into the session. You know, it's actually a really good constructive discussion. So I think the experience of the event versus the experience of the academy and the system is quite different, would be my honest answer.
I took his point though with the actual hype on the event. Like, you know, if he just stood up and talked like this,
yeah,
we wouldn't have sat there for 3 hours, especially when you're starting at 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't mind that, and I think we were prepared for that.
yeah,
you know,
exactly. And believe me, I've sat through a 13-hour one in the States through the night for 3 days with Tony Robbins. And I can tell you categorically, I would never have stayed awake for 13 hours from 2 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon without do you know what they had there? They had a dancing crew. This will make you laugh. They had a dancing crew that came on the stage and everyone had to get up and dance. And here's me going, I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to dance. And by the end of it, I was like this. You know, and it is very infectious, and it is I do believe about the peak state stuff that Tony Robbins does talk about, in terms of, you know, I was saying when you stand up and you have that pose and it changes the energy in your body. He is right. It's just the whole dancing crew thing kind of freaked me out at first, but actually it helped me stay motivated, as you say, and get through the event. Is there anything else, Gary? Was there something that you wanted to add to this part of the conversation?
No, I think that it's pretty much said it already. I think that the anchor point for yourself, being an anchor, being a rock, has kept everybody engaged, because you cut the fluff.
I cut the fluff. Yeah. I do cut the fluff, and I tried not to annoy you too much. But I do actually genuinely believe in the power of what this is. And when I'm passionate about something, I will really advocate for it. And I know a lot of people in New Zealand will go, you know, this is a United States thing, it's not for me. And that was why it was quite important for me to bring it to New Zealand, because there's actually a lot of gold that sits in there, but probably people are not keen to peel back the layers of what that is. And so I think there should be more of us here in New Zealand that get to do that. And that was kind of my underlying passion as well for doing this. Okay. Thank you for that. Is there any other final thoughts that you want to share with me before we move on? Glynis, no?
Not good as gold.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now what I wanted to do was I am going to share my screen with you. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Okay. I was going to play this to you, but I think you've probably heard enough from Dean. But what do you want to hear this? No. The thing that this was going to be about was it was only going to be 2 minutes long, Glynis, before you. But the essence of it was about the belief side of things, and actually believing you can do it. And often that, I certainly, when I started out with Turas, that was my biggest stumbling block, was being confident enough and believing that I could actually set off. And that's what I know he was going to say in this, but I've said it to you already. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. So this is behind the scenes of the system, which not everyone is getting to see. It's only because I'm in the academy I can show it to you. But I thought you would like to see it for a number of reasons. One is it makes it real, and two is you can ask me lots of questions as we go through. So this is what you would say. You come into the mastermind business system, and you can see here it's got the jump start, and then it's got a number of coaching tutorials for everyone to do. And here is the mastermind business assessment that you do when you first join. Now, I did it twice today. It's 40 questions. It took me 5 minutes maximum. And what it asks you about is about yourself, as well as what your aspirations are for your business, as well as about your tech savviness and all those kind of things. And I just want to talk you through that, because here's my results. Can you see that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I did it twice because I wanted to test 2 different ideas. But this basically talks to me about who my business identity was. And it talked to me about, in terms of which side of the triangle, you know, the career or the life or whatever, and whether I should be a masterminder or whether I should be a coach or a mentor, etc. And so it took all my answers and told me a bit about myself and where I could head. And then it told me a bit about some of my characteristics as a person, which I found really interesting. In terms of, I just asked you lots of questions about, do you agree, do you disagree? And there's some ones that I found quite interesting. But this is the summary it gives you of the type of person that you are, which I think is quite interesting in terms of the match to whether I'd want to be a masterminder or a coach or a course creator. And I'll tell you about that a bit later. And then it gave me this personalized roadmap. So this is the Jumpstart system. So it said to me, well, you have to do all the lessons in the Jumpstart, which is only 7 lessons of 15 minutes each. And then what it did is it took me through a roadmap here of all the different lessons that it would advise me to do based on what I would like to create. And bearing in mind that I knew a bit more about what I wanted to create, just as my caveat across this. But for example, here it's saying to me, this particular course it's told me to do is build your profitable mastermind, because it's identified that I want to be a masterminder and it's telling me how to do that. But then on top of that, it's giving me all my skills around social media. So it's recommended 4 particular modules for me to look at in terms of social media. And there was one question in my assessment, which I think probably prompted that, where it talked about, did I feel I was getting value on my paid advertising? And I was being honest and saying, no, probably not. And so it's kind of given me a mixture of modules and tutorials to look at. And then it started talking to me about my business skill basics. So this is about email marketing. This is about lead magnet generation. This is about how you actually get an email list, which is the biggest asset in your business. And by the way, one of the hardest things to build, trust me. And then it's also told me to do some market research, all the lessons of market research. Because I'm going to be a masterminder, it's also given me a pathway. It was taught to me about effective speaking. So if you're going to be a masterminder, you have to be able to communicate really, really well, because you're actually corralling and facilitating a group of people. And then for me, it was about my communication and influence, my sales basics, some of my financial and legals, my entrepreneurial mindset. See, and so it's given me this, I won't bore you with it, but what you can see is that it gave me all of this, and then it told me I could save my unique results, which I did, and I bookmarked them up here, and I kept them, and then it's emailed them to me. So you don't do one of those assessments and then you think, oh God, what did I say and where have my results gone? Because you want to use it as a reference. And then I did another one. So one of the questions that was asked to me last night was, can you do this assessment more once? Yes, you can, because I did it twice today. And I did this one today, and I came out slightly different, because I thought about some of the questions slightly differently. And so it said here, well, maybe you should be more developing a coaching program. And then it gave me a path for that. So I actually found it really interesting doing this assessment today. I did my assessment a long time ago when I joined the academy. But I found this really useful. And in terms of just an assessment of where I was at, where my business was at, where I was as a person, and the fit back to what they would suggest I do. Is that helpful? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then if you go back into, hang on, I'm going to go back here. So you do that. So you do your business assessment, and then what they tell you to do is do your Jumpstart first. And your Jumpstart, let me just show you this. I'm going to move. Oh, Glynis, you got a question? You're on mute.
Going back to that last step, depending on how you answered the questions, it could have come back with saying that you've got a life skill or a hobby that you should focus on, and not necessarily your career. So it wasn't just looking at your professional skills.
No, and if I'm being honest, do you know what I would advocate for? I would advocate that you do part of the Jumpstart first, then do the assessment. If I was being, and I'll tell you why. The reason I'm telling you this is because here, I'm going to move you guys over here a little bit, if I may. So in the 7-step Jumpstart, so you'll see here, there's a whole module, 2 modules here about create your unstoppable future and extract what you'll share. Those two are about helping you work out what the idea is. And so do you know what I mean? And so I would suggest that you do those first. What it had said was do the assessment, then do the jumpstart. But actually, the jumpstart module, sorry. But what I would actually suggest is for you, Glenys or Cass, if you were going to do it, I would do those two first because they help you get a clear idea of what your idea is about. So they extract what you share is in this lesson, you'll take your skills, experiences, passions, and identify the problem you will solve and the value you provide to your ideal client. So this helps you actually work out what the thing is that you might want to do. And same with this one, create your unstoppable future before, and also identify your ideal client. So these first three are really quite good in terms of identifying what your purpose is or your why, what's the idea you might want to consider as your first cab off the rank, and who that would be for. Before you get into, well, how do I create a lead magnet, how do I create products, and how do I do this, how do I do that? So my advice would be you do those three first, and then you go back and do the mastermind assessment because you've got a better idea of what you want to be. And then the only other thing that I would suggest is these ones here. See these ones here? Can you see my arrow, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing I would say is do these three to get your idea crystallized in a sense, and then listen to these three. So these three I listened to earlier today as well. What is a course creator? What is a coach? And what is a mastermind facilitator? And what I found really useful about those was it was really clear about the type of person who would be comfortable with being a coach versus not, or what you would need to feel okay about, what sort of skill set you would need to be a mastermind facilitator. And I found it really interesting because I'd never listened to that before. And I found it very interesting. So if it was me, I would listen to the top three modules and do those three ones about the different types, course creator, coach, and mastermind, and then do the assessment. Because I think you'll be much clearer about what that is when you go through. And then you would come back and do the rest of all of these. So these are all the kind of the solid foundations that they want to give you right from the beginning, which is what's a lead magnet, which would be your first kind of product out into the market. How do you create it? How do you upload it? How do you get people to opt into it? What's your email strategy? How do you deliver it? Etc. etc. So it gives you kind of a really, really good solid foundation on your idea and how you'd lead out with that first product. And so I found that quite interesting. I started watching it again today because, of course, you've got to remember, guys, I haven't seen this particular part of the product because it's only just launched, but I've been in the academy a long time. And so it was actually really quite useful to see this part. And I think that is really, really useful. So that was kind of this part of the program. And then there's also some really good stuff around behind the scenes interviews. These ones talk to people who are in the academy, and they are students in the academy, and they talk to you about the difference between a coach, a facilitator, and a masterminder, which I didn't have when I started. And I actually listened to them today as well. And they're actually really good guidance on what you might want to be. And when I started Turas, I thought I'm a coach. That's who I am. But now I'm going into course creation and mastermind territory. And I think if I'd known that earlier, I might have chosen maybe something different. And then you've got all these down here. So these are all the different learnings that you get, obviously, in the core foundation. And then you get to meet some of the experts in the academy. And then you've also got Tony Robbins. So in here, you've got 10 things from Tony Robbins that are, I think, really amazing, but they're about his success philosophy, belief busting philosophy, how to create success, how to create a success mindset. I mean, I don't need to list them off for you, but you can see that they are transformational in nature and how you actually create momentum, etc. And all that is really, really good. He doesn't make a lot of his things completely available to everyone. So I think that's really fantastic. And there's 10 of those. So that's kind of like, that is the learning componentry of the system. And I think the 2 points that I want to make is, one, that you don't have to know your idea before you go into it. 2, it helps you define it. 3, it does an assessment and gives you that personalized path, which includes the jump start, which is the core foundational learnings, and then it goes on to give you, excuse me, other learnings. I'm just going to take a sip of my water. Thank you, sir. Now, before I move on, does anyone have any questions about that? Does that make sense?
Can you just remind me what a mastermind is again?
A mastermind, great question. So a mastermind is somebody who probably facilitates a community of about 6 to 12 people, and they're there to facilitate the conversation and set goals for that community and help keep them accountable. But it's not a workshop. It's kind of like how the collective wisdom of that community can be unleashed, if you like. And everyone in that community does some work. It's not a coaching program where they all come in and listen to you and then they all go away, do some homework. It is actually a collective kind of problem solving, enhanced capability sort of focus. So to be a masterminder, what it said in the video today, which I found really interesting, is it's somebody that is happy to think on their feet, happy to answer questions quite quickly and in the moment, happy to respond quickly when it's required, very good at setting goals, and happy and to drive a community or facilitate a community to keep them accountable. And so that's what a masterminder is, versus a course creator who is probably more behind the camera. So a masterminder is more live and in person, whereas a course creator can actually create passive income and not be there at all, because they can film stuff and then they can just like I did. I created 6 webinars before Christmas and I recorded them. I gave people the opportunity to come and hear it live, and then the recorded versions were available. And so that's passive income for me. People can just buy that while I'm sleeping. The only thing I would say about that is you had to be comfortable and confident to be able to communicate clearly and concisely and in a way that people will find engaging in front of a camera, because you're not going to be there in front of them. And versus a coach, where a coach can be one-on-one or one-to-many. And that's where you love being in the moment with people, like seeing the transformation happen in front of you. And I have to say, as a coach, I really enjoy that. That's something that I find hugely rewarding, and I will never let go of that. And so it is quite interesting to think about the different components of the different aspects. Whereas when I started, guys, I just thought I was a coach. So good question. Any other questions? Dennis? Oh,
Nope.
Gary, did you have a question?
No, all
Makes
good.
sense.
Okay. Yep.
Now, last question from that. Did you get a sense of this when you were at the event?
No.
Yep.
Okay. Just thought I would check in. Hence why I thought it would be quite valuable to do this, because I think there's some perceptions that have come through from the event that are actually not correct. And this was one of them for me, which was that whole idea of you have to be 100% ready and you have to have all your ideas locked up in a wee box to answer all the assessments and everything, whereas that's not the case. Then the second part of the system, if you like, so that's the learning part of the system. And then obviously there is Ask Gigi. Did you guys test Ask Gigi? Okay. She's just having a wee think about it. Come on, Gigi. Okay. So this is Gigi. So Gigi is, you can basically, so if you were in the game, it's changed. So you can go in and you can ask Gigi a whole lot of questions. Like, for example, recently I went in and tested Gigi by saying, I'm in this business and this is what I think I help people do. And this is the products and services that I offer. What do you think? And so I asked her to do an assessment of my current business to see if my products matched my solution. You can also use her to help you brainstorm what your idea might be. You can also, she has certain questions that she can ask you, and there's 5 questions that I'm happy to give you, which are things like, what would be the 3 pieces of advice you would give yourself 10 years ago? Those kind of things. So, and I can share this with you after this conversation, but that is where you start to learn about the value of your knowledge in terms of how you would want to pass it on to people coming behind you. in terms, and that could be career, life, or passion. So you can engage Gigi in so many different ways. And the great advantage of her over ChatGPT is that she's an AI algorithm, obviously, but she's been trained on Tony and Dean's voice thinking patterns, everything. So instead of me going to ChatGPT to design my products or my social media posts now, I use Ask Gigi because I get a much better quality response. But not just from that perspective. She helps me think about my business as well. And I go, I'm thinking of running this mastermind, or do you think it's a mastermind, or do you think this is a good idea, or what do you think about this? So she's actually really good in terms of exploration as well as having a defined thought in your head. Glynis.
So how does she know what to answer you? Does she have the benefit of how you answered all the questionnaires and stuff in you know what we just talked about?
I don't know if she does that. I have to be honest. I can find out. I'm not sure if she does.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can take your results from the assessment and pluck out certain questions that you've got within yourself and plug those back in through Gigi. You could also say, like, for example, Glynis, you could go, here are my 3 ideas. Gigi, how can you help me decide which one is my most passionate one? And she'll probably give you some questions to think about. Or I'll give you those 5 questions, and then you'll say to Gigi, I'm going to give you the answer to these 5 questions. Please now tell me what my core business idea is, whether I'm a coach, a masterminder, or a course creator. And she'll do that because I've tested her on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's the power that you can wield in terms of how you ask her stuff and the questions that you ask her, I think, as well. Any other questions, guys? Cass, no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So then if we go, so that's the other thing. So if you had, so for me, the value of Gigi is I might have a nub of a concept but I just having absolutely, you know, it's just like a blank page. I've got the title and I'm not really sure. She can help me go, okay, so what's the outcomes I think this course could have? What might be the teaching points, do you think, Gigi? What would be the framework? Is it 6 modules, 5 modules? What do you think I should do in those modules? So, you know, she can help you flesh out an idea as well once you've, you know, flesh out a product concept once you've got it, or she can flesh out a social media post concept. She's very good at being able to take you off the blank page, which is what Dean's comment was about, taking you off the blank page, which I faced a number of times in Turas as well, just like to say. Okay, so that's the AI component. And then the last part, I'm just going to check our time, guys, because I know that we're at 9:30 already. Are people got a wee bit more time to sit through this, or are you okay? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so then I want to take you to the hub. This is going to be a little bit of a whistle stop tour, but I'm going to hopefully. Sorry, it's just taking a moment. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, no. It's been doing this all day, guys. It's having a bit of a conniption today. Okay, here we go. Right. So this is my Turas Business Hub. And you'll see that there are 12 elements down the side associated with this business hub. Okay. Anything from your business dashboard right through to sales and reporting. And I'm going to take you on a little bit of a whistle stop tour, but you can ask me questions. For some reason, you've disappeared off my screen. I don't know why. So can you just let me know if your hand's up? Okay, so this is and I'm going to go quite fast, so please just interrupt me because I don't want to keep you too long after this. So this is the business hub. Basically what this is this is the dashboard of your business. And what it helps you look at is obviously how things are converting, what products are converting, what your funnels in your business. So people who are responding most favorably to which funnels. And I just want to say that I'm still building my business in here, but I've got some examples to show you that might help. So at the moment, my dashboard is not populated, but this helps you with, you know, which funnels are actually performing, what tasks that some of your clients are sitting in their particular products are pending, what particular actions you need to do, where you're at with some of your leads in your pipeline, like are they cold, are they warm, are they at proposal stage, have they bought the product? And then there's some really, really cool Google Analytics around your website, and also how your advertising is performing in terms of your Facebook ads report and your Google ads report, and how much you've spent, and your cost to retain people or cost to acquire people. It's really cool. And I can tell you, as a small business owner, that's like music to my ears, because trying to find it in the individual social media platforms is really tough.
So do you use Google Ads, Lindsay?
Sorry?
Do you use Google Ads, or do you?
I use a mixture. I haven't used Google Ads at this point. I have used boosting through Facebook and Insta. I haven't progressed into LinkedIn at this point because I just didn't have a sufficient following that I felt I merited it. But now, since I've grown my LinkedIn following to nearly 3,000 now, then I'm going to potentially consider that. My target is to get to 5,000 by my 1-year anniversary. So I would probably try that then, but not before.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, no, I found you. Oh, there you are over there. You're on my other monitor. Hang on a second. I'm going to bring you back. Ah, there you are. Hello. Okay. So then there's the build your product. Okay. So this one is how do you actually build products once you decide what your idea is? Okay. So here you've got, this shows you, know, and this dashboard here, it's talking to you, well, how many people actually opted into a particular product? How many members have I got on my membership site? If you've got a membership site, how many sales have I got? Well, who's gone through my checkouts? But the most important thing about here is that you can actually build products. Okay. So you can either create a product from scratch, or you can import it from Kajabi, which is a product creating platform, or you could just go, oh, that's all a bit too hard, so I'm going to go into this product template. And this product template shows you different lessons on how to build a product. So it shows you, okay, I could upload a video here. This first lesson should be about the what, and then it tells you what the what is, and gives you an idea of what it should look like. And then, you know, how you can put thumbnails in it and add some files. So it actually helps, it gives you a construct within which to build an actual product itself. And then you can go back and you can go, okay, well, I've done that one now. I might build, you know, the why and the how, and it's the same kind of thing. And what you'll find is that you can quite quickly build a product. And I can tell you guys that I didn't have this, and it makes it a lot faster. You know what I mean? And then you can build your offer, and then you've got analytics around who's taking up your products. And then in here you've got, and I'm going a bit fast because I'm conscious of your time, but in here, and I haven't done this yet, but you can create, so if you were going to be a mastermind or CASP, to your earlier question, if I wanted to, so I'm running a webinar series in September, and I'm going to put 19 people through it, and I want to create a community for it, and I don't want to do it in Facebook, so I can run a community through here. Make sense? Okay. Which I feel is safer than running it through Facebook. And I know lots of people do it through Facebook, and that's probably a silly thing, but I just feel safer it's in here. Then you can also give people certificates. So you can decide to either create one of your own, or there are some templates that you can use to give people a certificate to say, well done, you've got my product, or you completed this, etc. And so that's pretty cool. Then, so that's all around the product creation. So that means you've got to, if you want to just start really basic, then you can create it quite quickly. Then you kind of got, any questions on that? I'm going fast, but is that okay? Okay. Then you've got so email and social media, right? So what you'll see here is all my social media is now integrated into this platform. What that means is I don't have to go to every single one of my social media channels to post something. Here you've got, if you open this is your planner. So I just put a few tests in so you could see. So you can start to see how your social media schedule looks like. And you can actually create a schedule for months out so that you're not taking up loads and loads of time trying to do it every day. And then the other thing that you want to do is you want to create a new post. So let's say I'm going to create a new post. So you choose your account here. So let's say we wanted to put one in my Facebook and my Insta, let's just say. And then let's just say, let's write something. So we say test, blah, blah. And then I can also put hashtag in. So if I had particular hashtags, so I've got some here possibilities. So let's apply that. There you go. I've got a hashtag in there. If I wanted to put a photograph in there, then I've got a photo library here. So this is all my photography. So let's just say, space, and I wanted to, sorry, it's just going to take a minute to upload it. I'm saying hopefully, come on. There we go. So let's say we wanted to put this one in here. So we put it in and there you go. And then that would be it ready. And you could post it. I'm not going to post it because it would be a draft, or I can save it for later. Actually, I can save it for later. And then what you would see is that's now appeared in here.
Yeah.
And it's also appeared in my planner. Yeah. Oh, no, it hasn't. Maybe I have to need to do that. Maybe it takes a wee minute. That makes sense. So you can start to see how it's quite easy to. Gary, got a question?
Yeah, it's not really a question. It's just, this is really cool. My phone's going to die in a minute.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, sadly.
What do you want to do?
Keep going. I can.
Okay.
When it goes, and then it's really, really powerful.
I thought you would like it, and you can't convey the power of it till you see it, guys. If I'm being honest. And so this is social media planet. Then you can do email campaigns. So let me go into here. I've tried to put in some of my own business in here just now. You can do. They create campaigns, like they give you templates for email follow-ups. They give you templates for initial campaigns. So you can go in here and you can put in, images and text, and it just makes it so easy, like images here, buttons here. You can just do it so quickly. And I didn't have all of this. I was in MailChimp and it was a lot harder. And yeah, I can't tell you how much easier it is. And then the other thing I think I wanted to show you in here, just bear with me 1 second. No, it wasn't here. It wasn't here. Let me just check my notes because I know I put it somewhere. It's in the next one. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Funnels and pages. So here's my website. So I've brought across, my website is coming across into here. It's being built at the moment, so I haven't got it all here, but this is my website, which was a WordPress website, but we've started to migrate it into the hub, because then it means my calendar and everything. So if somebody wants to book an appointment in my website, then this is a preview up here, and you can build it. There it is. Didn't take Van. I've got a virtual marketing assistant. Didn't take it very long. And so you can see this is my website that we've now started to migrate in. And that didn't take him very long. And it took my agency a hell of a lot longer to do it. Just telling you. And probably cost me a lot more money. So that's kind of, so you can feature your website. The other thing that you can do is, I wanted to show you this in here. So you can create forms and free resources. So here's an example of a lead magnet for me. So I've just created something to build my email list, which is something that's, a big asset for my business. This is something that you can sign up for free. So you create this part in the form section, and then you bring it in, and it's really easy. And then you just create your imagery and your text over here. So on the right hand side, you can, do all of this and put your text in, and then you preview it. And that's a lead magnet created. You can create the document behind it, but there's the sign up form. They click on that and they get their free copy. And then what happens there is, just going to go back. And then they go into automations. I know this sounds like a lot. I'm just trying to give you the sense of the journey rather than the different sections. So I've created that form. I've created that landing page. And then when somebody comes in to get the free copy, they get this free email, and it's generated automatically. Okay. You haven't even had to touch it, and it was so hi. Great, here you go. You got your download. So that is generated automatically. I didn't even have to go to it, and it came into my email inbox. So this is where the automation side of this is really powerful, because I can tell you I've spent many hours doing things very laboriously. What else would be important to know? There's a client portal where you can get clients to log into private information. You can create blog posts. So here's one of my blog posts that's in here. I've got a blog called In the Now, and you create the blog post in here. So this is one I wanted to just show you, and you can just preview it here. So here's my, oh, Gary's phone just died.
Yeah.
So this is a blog post created in here. Didn't take me very long. And then my actual blog is in my website, which is in here. There's my blog. And then it automatically updates into my blog on my website. I'm going quite fast, guys. Is this an okay pace? Is that all right? I'm not going. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you can start to generate so many things. Then there's my In the Know newsletter. So here's my form. So when people come in to subscribe to my community, they sign up to a form that answers them a number of questions here. And then they get put into my contacts list. And that is automatic through my website as well. And I don't even have to touch that either. So you can start to see that quite a few things can be automated. You've also got forms you can send, surveys that you can build, like customer experience surveys. You can put in an automatic chat widget into texts. And so, you know, you can get quite sophisticated. Here's my contacts that I've imported in from MailChimp, which is where all my contacts were originally. And you can filter them. So you can put tags on them like this. So I can select a tag. So say, like, for example, I wanted to see how many people, I only launched this a day ago, but let's just say how many people took up my redundancy magnet at the moment. And I apply that, it won't be very many. 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5. So you can start to see who's in what part and what they bought, all these tags here. So I know that Claire's been in for Being to Win, and she's bought the Power lead magnet. So you can start to get much more visibility of how your contacts are engaging with you and what things they're buying. Then customer reviews. This is the one thing I couldn't import. I'm sorry, I'm building at the moment, but I have a customer review form. But what you can do is you can build it in here, and then as soon as somebody finishes a product, it's automatically sent to them, and then the response is automatically displayed in here, so you can see what customer satisfaction is doing, how many reviews you've got, what the sort of sentiment's doing across your customer base, which I think is quite cool as well. How are we doing so far? Just going to take a pause for my breath and have a sip of water. What are people thinking?
It feels like once you've got this going, you're hooked in forever, because it's so all your information sort of in here. You would, yeah.
To be honest though, Cass, I would be hooked in forever to all the other 12 platforms I'm on anyway. If I'm honest, because I have to pay subscriptions for all of those too. Like MailChimp, I've got all my contacts in, and I would have to pay for that. And I can tell you I pay close to $10,000 a year probably on all my platforms versus paying $1,000 for this a year. So you're right, but I think any platform with that would probably be similar. Does that make sense?
I suppose the difference is if you could just move out of MailChimp and into a different, something else that does the same thing, whereas this is so all-encompassing, it would be very hard once you've got all of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I have to say though, in my experience so far, I've been looking for something like this for over a year. And I searched the internet trying to find one. There was only one other option, and it wasn't nearly as good as this. And so my belief is 2 things. One is I think this is the best so far that I've seen. 2 is I can't imagine, knowing Tony and Dean, that they would sit still on it. I can honestly think that they will constantly evolve this platform. Does it mean that you're potentially locked into it for $1,000 a year? Yes, possibly. But I think I would rather be locked into them for $1,000 a year than to 12 other platforms for $10,000 a year. It's kind of a choice, you know, it's a sort of a choice thing and a trust thing. I do trust them. But I think it's a valid point.
Hit by a bus and disappear. I mean, because it's so very personal. It's them, they're people. I mean, is there a company behind them that?
Yes. So, oh, you mean Tony and Dean? Oh God, yeah. The whole mastermind business sits behind them. There's a whole business that runs this. And I suppose the only other thing about this that I really value is I want some more work. I want some more of my time back. And this level of automation and sophistication, I have not been able to achieve in the year that I've been running my business through the other 12. It's just too hard. And so that was the attraction for me, and also to be able to scale it up. So that was some of my reasons why I decided to go into the business hub and not just stay in the broader academy on its own. But it is a choice, and you're right. It is a definite choice and commitment. And then the last couple of ones I'm going to whiz through because I really don't want to keep you much longer. This is your calendar, so you can book in. So the way I work my calendar just now is I have people that can make bookings into my calendar automatically, and they don't have to call me up and go, can I see you at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock? So you can have them, you know, plugged in so they can start actually making appointments independently, so as long as you set the right hours. Then you've got your inbox, which I don't think I need to explain. Payments, so you can start to see how payments are coming through your business, when. You can do things like proposals in here. You can see what your orders are doing. And if you're really if you want to develop an e-commerce website, you can see people abandon checkout. All the sophistication of an e-commerce, you can give them coupons. So I offer people coupons for certain things. And so the whole back end around the payment start is really good as well. I have to say, though, that I think I will probably keep an element of my Xero accounting software outside of this at the moment till I have a little bit more of an understanding of how this part works. And I don't think this would have the same level of accounting capability. It has sales visibility, but not necessarily accounting capability. And then the sales pipelines, which is, you know, you can start to see where people are sitting in your pipelines. I find really hard to get visibility of where people are and how well I'm doing. At the moment, my CRM is an Excel spreadsheet. So it's quite hard, but this actually tells you where everyone is at in your business. And then obviously there's the reporting side, which is all about your, you know, your Google ads, your conversions, your impressions, which campaigns are working the best for you, which I do also find, like Facebook reporting and other platform reporting. I find this really hard to work out. Whereas if I have it all in one place and I can start to see which ones are actually performing the best, which I'm quite excited about because I still don't have that visibility at all. Can I take a breath now? Right. I'm going to stop. And then the last thing is plug and play. And plug and play, which I'm going to summarize in about 2 minutes, is literally that. So you could decide to do a lead magnet marketing plan, and then you plug in all the information and it creates you for you. Now I was gonna play you a 6-minute video, but I kind of feel you might not want me to do that. But it shows you an absolute demo of it. But basically, you plug in some information, you choose a color palette, and it brings up a marketing plan for you. It brings up a launch ad. It brings up all those kind of things very quickly. So like kind of certain widgets that you might want. Right. I'm going to stop talking now, take a drink, and just ask you for, I think the 2 things I want to ask you is, one, is this, so you said to me a wee while ago, this isn't quite what we thought the event was telling us. Is that still true?
I mean, some of the things you've talked about, the plug and play, for example, whatever, he talked about that. It's just, it almost feels, I mean, this is really good to see this, and it almost feels like at the end it would have been good for them
for him to do a demo.
Yeah.
I'm going to feed that back as well, guys.
Because it's not like it's a complete mystery, because we heard some of it and some of the people have talked about it, but not really, like this. Yeah.
And what has been the most valuable? Sorry, Glynis, go on.
I still need to go away and work some more on my idea, though. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I just wanted to. I mean, this is. I think going back to Dean's point, which I think is very true, which is, confusion robs confidence. So all I wanted to do was share this with you and go, is this, this is, I can't tell you any more information than what I'm telling you now. It's now up to you. And I just didn't feel necessarily the gold that sat within here was as openly shared to some of us in New Zealand, because I think the States are more advanced in terms of some of this stuff, and so maybe not everything had to be said, but I think for some of us in New Zealand and in other countries, I think there could be a bit more detail on this side of it, because I think once you see it, you can actually see how advanced it is in terms of what it offers. So Glynis, there's no pressure here. I'm not expecting you to sign a form at the end of this call going, I'm going to buy this. I just wanted to share it with you because I actually thought it was really important to do so.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the second thing I wanted to do was just make sure that you were clear that the fact that you weren't clear in your idea is not a barrier to using this system, or it shouldn't be a barrier to starting or using the system or getting ahead and thinking about it or whatever it is. But not having a full idea is not one of the things that should stop you using this. I think that's my only point. Is there any other questions, observations that you guys have got?
No, I think this has been really helpful, because I just did go, I didn't have an idea. I mean, I talked to you a few weeks ago, Lindsay, and I didn't even know if I wanted business or not.
I know, and it's true. And I really wish, if I can be honest with you, I really wish I'd had this a year ago. It would have made my first year a lot easier. And I didn't, and that's fine. I had the coaching academy instead. But I think I would have loved to have had this, because now what I'm doing is migrating my business, which is more formed now, in from 12 different platforms into this to make my life easier. And so I really wish I'd had that a year ago, but I didn't, and that's cool. But that's great. That was all I wanted to do tonight. I wanted to get your feedback, and thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your kind words about my role in this process and how much you have enjoyed that. Glynis, or if either of you, my offer to you is, if you want to talk to me any more about it, or you want some more advice, just let me know. Obviously we shut this midnight on the 20th or whatever that is. I don't even know what that is here, 21st. So if you want to just even talk to me about generating an idea or narrowing down an idea, then I'm really happy to help you on that too.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's really helpful to know more about what the tools are out there, and like I said, I wouldn't have even got this far if it wasn't for you, so I definitely wouldn't have done any of that. It was too in your face for me. But those, those 9 hours or more, there was another one, were quite enlightening, and I thought it made you feel enthusiastic. It made you think about other possibilities, and that was really good. So I'm
really glad about that, and that's a gift, that irrespective of what you decide to do, that's a gift. And also in the email I sent you this afternoon, there was also a gift from me, which was 2 exercises that I also run with my own clients, which help you decide, and Glynis's might help, in fact might help both of you. One is about defining your purpose, and one is about defining your passion. Go in, and if you can find my email, go in, and if you can't, let me know and I'll send it to you. But it helps you. I'm going to stop this sharing now. It helps you. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened here.
You're still there.
It helps you with defining some of that. So I go in and find my email and let me know what you think of that too. It certainly helped me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you said to me about when we talked before this about the 7 steps, why
7 layers of why.
7 layers of why. I got stuck on the definition of success.
But the definition of success needs to start with why it's important first. So success, when you say the word success,
yeah,
what do you immediately think of?
I guess that was, I don't know. And I think it changes all the time. So I don't know what success was. So I couldn't answer the why is it important because I don't know what it is.
But then I don't know if you need to know what it is as long as you know conceptually that it's success. So for me, so here you go. Here's my why, okay? So for me, the definition of success, by the way, that could be so many things. The definition of success for me could be I run a 6-figure coaching business in 5 years. It could be I go home and live in Scotland for my retirement. It could be so many things. But the 7 layers of why is about why is it important to be successful? And for me, the importance of being successful is about a couple of things. One is control of my own life. 2 is the freedom to role model to my own children that if you have a dream, you should go for it. And the third one was being present for my kids. So both my kids are teenagers. My last jobs were killing me. I was never here. I was never mentally here. And I decided if I died tomorrow, I wouldn't want to have those regrets. And so it didn't necessarily need to be a hard definition of success as such, but to know why I was driving towards whatever that definition was going to be was to understand the emotional reason, because everyone defines goals, but if you don't define a goal that's emotionally driven, you'll never get there.
Right.
Because when things get tough, so if I can share with you, I've got a hunger for what I want to do with Turas, but I've faced a lot of, obstacles, and I've faced quite a few things that have challenged me last year. And the only reason that I managed to keep going is because I have an emotional thing underpinning my drive for that goal.
Right. Yeah. So you've got to hit that, which is why when we're doing the exercise and I did the homework and then I went the next day, I went, oh God, I don't do that. I'm not even slightly passionate about that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, and that's a good test. And then the other one is, so I gave you the 7 layers of why, which is about understanding emotionally why success is important to you. And that's about getting to the root of the emotion that would drive you for whatever you decide to do. And then the second one I sent you is how to define your passion. And I've asked you a number of questions that might help you with that. And so there's two exercises I sent you. The 7 layers of why you need to persevere.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I did get to the point where it's on my deathbed, I want to be able to feel like I was successful and that I was happy that I'd done the good life sort of thing. But it was what was that?
What does good life look like?
Yeah.
So when you say I want to have done a good life, it's like, well, what does that mean exactly? Because we all want to have a good life, right? But what's a good life look like? So for me, it's what I just described to you.
Yeah.
I wanted more control back. I wanted to be my own master. I wanted to feel like I've left a bit of a footprint or made an impact on some people's lives. That was really important to me. Oh, Glynis, you've just gone in the dark. Has your phone died as well?
Sorry to cut in, but I need to actually get going. But I'll this has been really helpful tonight, and I'll be in touch.
Okay, you are most welcome, and I will speak to you soon. You take care, Glynis. Cass.
Will do.
Okay, Cass, you let me have another go at those exercises and let me know how you do. Okay.
I will do. Yeah, I will do. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay. Hey, thank you so much for your time. All this is very generous and is much appreciated.
You're most welcome.
This last weekend has been quite inspiring with you, and the game has changed.
And that's good. I'm really pleased. I mean, that is ultimately why I wanted to do it. It's not how many people I get over the line with the system, to be honest. It's more about have I given people something else to think about? Have I opened their eyes to possibilities? Have I inspired them in some way? Can they look at me and know that it's possible? that was more my gift, really. So if I've achieved on any one of those fronts, then I'm happy.
You have.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. And you look after yourself and don't be a stranger, okay?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll keep in touch for sure. My brain's going now, so I'll just I'll have some thoughts and I'll be in touch for sure.
Okay. Take care. All right,
Thank you so much. You too.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Soon. See ya.
Bye.